It was just a joke, a banner tied to our bloodline. No outsider had ever triggered it. Then the human touched it, and the vaults woke up. Jason Brooks had been on the planet Virulon Prime for just under a week. He still couldn't pronounce half the street names, had learned quickly not to eat anything with twitching edges, and was now staying in a high-vaulted ancestral manor that looked like it had been carved from fossilized coral and ego. His host was a young Virellan named Celira, daughter of House Decalia, third noble line, keepers of vault codes and ancient texts. Celira was sharp, charming in the way that made Jason question whether she was laughing with him or at him, and perpetually barefoot, which somehow didn't stop her from appearing impossibly regal. Jason was here on a diplomatic rotation, technically civilian, semi-military, Earth-affiliated. The details bored him, and most of the paperwork had been done while he was still orbiting. He'd been trained in cultural sensitivity, briefed on planetary customs, and instructed firmly not to touch anything without asking. Naturally, that was exactly what he did 5 days in. Celira had taken him through the inner courtyard, past a series of bronze statues and into a chamber lined with slanted, mirror-polished stone. In the center stood a banner, an actual cloth banner, mounted on a pole of obsidian metal and tethered to the floor with rings of engraved steel. It was beautiful, etched with deep crimson runes, almost veiny, like the cloth itself was alive. He stepped toward it with reverence. Celira rolled her eyes. "It's ceremonial. Doesn't do anything." Jason raised an eyebrow. "It looks like it should." "Only if someone with lineage touches it," she said with a grin. "So not you." She reached out, untethered the banner with a twist of her hand and thrust it at him. "Here. Behold the sacred legacy of House Decalia." Jason blinked. "Are you serious?" "Deadly," she said with a smirk. "Try not to combust." He took it, more out of reflex than confidence. The cloth felt oddly warm, heavy. The symbols shimmered faintly, and suddenly the room lit up. Runes across the banner burst into sharp red light. Lines of energy snaked up the pole and into Jason's hands. He recoiled, nearly dropping it, but the banner held fast. "Security protocol initializing," said a voice, old, crackling, mechanical. "Lineage confirmed, access granted." Celira's smirk vanished. "Wait, what?" Jason looked down. The banner had wrapped around his forearm like a living thing. The base of the pole clicked. Turrets retracted silently into the walls. Wall panels shifted, locking into defensive posture. The ceiling glowed with old shield sigils that hadn't seen power in centuries. "Jason," Celira said slowly, "let go." "I'm trying," he replied. "It's stuck." The AI spoke again. "Air matrix found. Gene print alignment 98.4%. Protocol, Guardian mode, weapons deactivated, intrusion barriers offline." Jason looked around. "Was that good?" "No," Celira whispered. "That's not possible." She stepped forward and reached for the banner. As soon as her fingers touched the edge, the cloth jerked. Defensive reflex. She flinched back. Jason grimaced. "It doesn't like you?" "I'm part of the house." "You're not. That banner was made during the Consolidation Wars. It's encoded to our family, our bloodline." "Well," Jason said awkwardly, "surprise." He finally managed to pull his arm free. The banner slithered back to a resting position, pulsing once before falling still. Celira stared at it, then at him. No one outside this house has ever activated it, not in living memory. It rejected the Grand Arbiter's own hand during the embassy visit. But you, it thinks you're kin. Jason's heart was still pounding. "Do you want to explain how that's possible?" "No," she said. "I want to find out who your ancestors are." Security personnel arrived moments later, followed by an archivist, a blood code technician, and an elder who walked with the help of a hoverstaff, but spoke with the certainty of thunder. They tested Jason's blood 3 times. The first sample caused the analysis array to flash amber, then green, then a third color Jason didn't recognize. The technician grew visibly nervous. "This isn't a prank," the elder said, voice dry. "This is pre-epoch genetic resonance. That banner predates most Virilin systems. It was designed to recognize wartime heirs, not just bloodline, but intent, purpose, will." Jason sat on a marble bench, head in his hands. "I didn't even want to hold the thing." The elder gave him a long look. "Which is precisely why it accepted you." Celira hadn't said a word since the scans confirmed it. She just stood, arms crossed, watching him like a puzzle that had started moving on its own. "I don't understand," Jason finally said. "My parents were from New Mexico. My dad was a mechanic. My mom taught physics. There's no virelin in our tree." "Not virelin," the elder corrected. "You may share something older, something we interbred with, or that we once were." Jason looked up. "You're saying I might be part of your ancestor species?" Celira finally spoke. "Or theirs." That night, Jason was moved to a private chamber inside the estate's core. No locks, but 2 security drones hovered at all times, not menacing, just present. Celira visited after nightfall, bringing 2 cups of some bittersweet drink that tasted like licorice and fire. "I meant it as a joke," she said quietly. Jason nodded. "I know." She sat beside him, handing him the second cup. "I don't think it was coincidence," she added. "That banner doesn't just light up. It defends the house. It wouldn't have triggered unless it thought there was danger." Jason looked at her. "Do you think there's danger?" She didn't answer right away. "Then, I think the house thinks so." Jason was dreaming of static when the tremor woke him. Not a violent quake. Just a single jolt, like the house had flinched. The lights in his chamber dimmed for half a second before returning to full brightness, but the silence that followed felt less like peace and more like a held breath. By the time he reached the hallway, 3 drones hovered in place, motionless, weapons retracted, lights on standby. That was the first clue something was wrong. Normally they pulsed softly to show they were idle. Now they glowed red. Celira met him in the central corridor, barefoot as always, this time holding a communication scroll that flickered with official code stamps. "There was a probe," she said without preamble. "A stealth unit tried to breach the perimeter from orbit. House security intercepted it before impact." Jason frowned. "Spying on us?" "More likely scanning for vulnerabilities. It came from a Matari carrier, unauthorized." He raised an eyebrow. "Thought we were at peace with Matari." "We are. But this is a house matter. If another faction thinks our defense grid is reactivating, they might interpret it as prelude to a power shift. The old alliances, they weren't stable, just quiet." Jason felt a chill settle into his chest. "And I'm the one who triggered all this." Celira didn't deny it. "You're the only one who can shut it down, too." They returned to the banner chamber. The runes were still glowing, though dimmer now, on standby, much like the drones. The AI interface had gone silent, but its presence hummed in the walls like a second heartbeat. Jason approached, slower this time. He stopped just short of touching the fabric again. "What happens if I command it?" Celira tapped a panel on the floor, unlocking a database terminal. "We're not sure. Only 1 line of commands was ever recorded. It's voice-locked. You could try, but..." Jason nodded. "I might activate something worse." She tilted her head. "Or stop something worse." He took a breath and spoke, clearly without trying to mimic the AI's language. "Deactivate active defense." "Nothing." He tried again. "Cease perimeter protocols." A low hum vibrated through the chamber floor. Then the AI replied. "Command denied, authorization accepted. Override requires quorum." Celira blinked. "Quorum? That means a council of equals." Jason looked at her. "There are no other equals in this house." "Exactly." The implications hit them both at once. The banner hadn't just recognized Jason's lineage. It had elevated him. He wasn't a guest anymore. He was family, and not the distant cousin kind, the leadership kind. Salira turned to him slowly. If the House AI interprets you as part of the bloodline, then under ancestral law your vote holds weight. And if you were declared an heir by the banner, then I'm part of the chain of succession. Jason finished the sentence for her. A sharp chime interrupted them. A house guard, older, eyes dulled from too many shifts, stepped into the room, visor raised. There's a delegation approaching, unflagged. They've landed on the southern platform. Salira stiffened. Unflagged? They didn't announce? No, lady, they are already past the main gate. Jason turned to Salira. Did they send names? She was already pulling up surveillance. A projection filled the center of the room. 3 figures walking toward the estate's south hall. 2 wore Mitari insignias. The third, a Viralin woman in diplomatic robes, moved like she had every right to be here. Velnai, Saliro said, jaw tight. From House Corval. Ellie? Not quite. She's a peacemaker. But old blood. Ambitious. She's here because of you. Jason nodded. Then let's meet her. They intercepted the delegation in the gallery hall, where ancient tapestries showed battles long turned to legend. Jason wore a formal cloak now, loaned, reluctantly, from the house's ceremonial chamber. Salira walked half a pace behind, eyes narrowed. Velnai stopped when she saw him. You are the human who carries the banner's mark. Jason nodded once. Jason Brooks. I'm told it responded to you, recognized your gene print. That's not intentional, he said. She smiled, cool and amused. Intentional or not, the effect is the same. The houses are watching. House de Khalid has gone from dormant to defended. Your banner is online. That disturbs a very delicate balance. I didn't mean to disrupt anything. You don't need to mean it. You just need to be it. Power reshapes everything around it. Salira stepped forward. Is that why you came here without a flag? To warn us? To test you, Velnai replied. And perhaps to offer you a path forward. Jason's hand flexed at his side. What kind of path? Velnai smiled again. An alliance. Your recognition by the banner makes you eligible for house ratification. If you declare formal kinship and act as steward, I can help you secure a seat at the council. You could be protected. Jason glanced at Salira. Her posture was rigid. And what do you want in return? Stability, Velnai said, and your silence. We can explain the banner's activation as a technical glitch. Quiet the panic. If you accept your role, symbolic only, there will be no conflict. Jason looked back at the projection of the banner. Its runes flared slightly as if responding. Then he met Velnai's gaze. No, the gallery went still. You came here with assumptions, he said calmly. That I'd want safety, that I'd sit down and smile while you rewrote the story around me. You're not one of us, Velnai said softly. No, he agreed, but I am what the banner chose, and I think that matters more than who expected it. Salira stepped forward, now beside him, not behind. Then House de Khalid stands. Velnai gave a shallow bow. So be it. She turned and left, robes trailing behind her. As soon as she exited, the house lights dimmed, then brightened. A voice echoed through the air. Quorum confirmed. Guardian accepted. Full systems online. The banner pulsed. And deep within the estate, old gears began to turn. 2 days after the confrontation in the gallery hall, the manor was no longer quiet. Every corridor hummed with movement. Technicians inspecting rusted conduits, historians poring over reawakened vaults, drones hovering with awkward urgency. Defense systems that had lain dormant for centuries were now active, self-calibrating with unsettling precision. Jason hadn't left the central wing since the house confirmed his role. Salira had barely left his side. The Ancestral AI had begun unlocking previously sealed segments of the estate. It started with the lower crypts, revealing archived weapons, old memory caches, and a war table shaped like a continent map. Then the upper towers began to shift. Slow grounding stone, stairs that rotated into place, antennae reaching for signals that hadn't existed for 500 years. Jason stood in the command vestibule, a circular platform flanked by 6 empty thrones and a central pedestal. The banner rested in a case nearby, gently pulsing. "Everything's accelerating," he muttered. Celira, adjusting the interface scroll beside him, nodded. "The AI believes a threat is imminent. It's moving ahead of schedule." "But threat? That probe? Maybe, or something worse." The AI had begun feeding them data, not just from the house, but from long-range observatories, hidden in the estate's upper relays. Strange energy patterns, movements near old battle sites, fragments of code intercepted from dark space frequencies. Jason stared at a projection now spinning slowly above the platform. A star map with 12 red markers, each labeled in an ancient dialect that translated roughly to one thing: dormant wards. "Those were once part of a planetary defense web," Celira explained. "Back when Virulon was a fortress world, they linked the noble houses into a single network. If all 12 are reactivated..." Jason finished her thought. "The planet goes into wartime lockdown, and you just reactivated one of them." That night, Jason slept poorly. His muscles ached from the exertion of learning how to navigate the estate's constantly shifting layout. A fall earlier that day had left his shoulder badly bruised. He'd tried to shrug it off, but Celira insisted on a medical scan. The estate's medical wing had been fully offline when he arrived. Now it had reassembled itself. He lay on a padded slab while a drone hovered, using soft contact probes to image his scapula and shoulder ligaments. "You didn't dislocate it," the medical assistant reported, "but the acromioclavicular joint is inflamed. You've got a low-grade shoulder separation, 1st degree." Jason winced. "Feels worse." "Pain scale is not always proportional to grade," the drone said. "You'll need to immobilize the joint for 3 days. Light movement only. No lifting." Celira appeared in the doorway with a vial of regeneration gel. "He'll ignore you the moment you turn off." "I am aware," the drone said. She applied the gel herself, gently, and helped him back into the tunic. Her fingers brushed his skin for just a second longer than needed. "You shouldn't carry the banner until you're healed," she said. Jason gave a strained laugh. "Kind of seems like it's carrying me." But the pain was real. His upper body movements were limited now, which meant he needed assistance for things he'd taken for granted. Simple tasks like adjusting gear, donning armor, even eating with his non-dominant hand. Celira never commented. She simply stepped in when needed. By the 3rd day, the swelling had reduced. But that was when the alarm went off. High-pitched, internal, no sonic signature, just a pressure wave that knocked breath from lungs and silence into every corridor. Jason staggered into the hall as panels retracted across the walls. The AI's voice echoed through the estate. "House Decaliath has been challenged. Bloodright protocol initiated." Jason blinked. Challenged? By who? Celira stood frozen, eyes wide. Another house invoked ancient trial. They want to force a legitimacy test. Jason grimaced. What kind of test? She turned to him slowly. Inheritance lock. The term meant little to Jason, until the floor beneath them began to descend. They dropped down 5 stories into a black chamber, carved not from stone, but from vitrified metal. A single room, circular, with an empty ring at the center. The banner was already there, pulsing softly. Celira stood at the rim. Only those of the bloodline can enter. The AI reads intention and strength. Anyone who doesn't belong is rejected. Jason looked at her. Rejected how? She hesitated. Physically, neurologically. If the AI doesn't believe you're rightful, it won't just deny access, it attacks. Jason stepped toward the center. His shoulder throbbed with every step. The moment he crossed the threshold, the room darkened. Runes flared on the walls. 6 beams of light hit the chamber floor. And then, Lineage confirmed. Host recognized. Salira exhaled sharply. The chamber sealed. Commencing inheritance lock. Jason's heart thundered. A platform rose from the floor, carrying the banner upright, not resting, waiting. Present claim, the AI commanded. Jason straightened as best he could, wincing at the pull in his shoulder. I was chosen. I didn't seek this, but the banner responded. I won't run from it. Silence. Accepted. Trial commencing. A shockwave pulsed outward. The banner glowed brighter. And then something else emerged. Not a person, a shape. A figure of light and metal, built from old code, tall, faceless, armored in the shape of warriors past. A construct. Jason stared, realization sinking in. It wasn't just a scan. It was a duel. The construct stepped forward in complete silence. Jason could feel the hum of its presence through the floor, like standing too close to a power core. It was human-shaped in only the loosest sense. 2 arms, 2 legs, but elongated, plated in dull silver, with runes etched like veins beneath its armor. It didn't breathe. It didn't blink. It waited. This is the test? Jason said aloud. I fight a memory? The AI responded, not unkindly. You face the echo of the first warden, defender of the house last active 7,212 cycles ago. It will not kill you, but if you fall, your claim is void. Jason rolled his bad shoulder experimentally. It burned. Still not right. His legs felt stable though, breathing steady, just enough. The construct lunged. No warning. Jason barely had time to duck, the silver arm swinging past his head like a guillotine. He fell into a roll, came up with a grunt and pivoted to keep distance. No weapons, no shield, just him and his instincts. The construct struck again. A flurry this time, open palm, reverse sweep, knee strike. Jason blocked what he could, evaded what he couldn't. One glancing blow to his ribs stole his air. Do not use force, the AI advised. Match its movement, prove your intent. Jason didn't answer. He couldn't. He was too busy staying alive. The duel continued. And slowly, Jason stopped fighting like a soldier and started moving like the banner wanted. Not aggression, not dominance. Control. The construct mirrored him. Every time he matched pace, the runes dimmed slightly. When he swung in panic or frustration, they flared. He understood, then. This wasn't about strength. It was about responsibility. He stepped back, lowered his arms, slowed his breath. I don't want to win, he said, voice calm despite the pain. I want to serve. The construct froze mid-step. The chamber dimmed. Statement accepted, the AI said. Line of succession confirmed. The construct dissolved. Jason dropped to one knee, sweat rolling down his neck, shoulders screaming from overuse. The banner unfurled on its own. A final flare of red light filled the room, and then faded. Above him, the ceiling split open, revealing the true heart of the estate. A data chamber, circular, surrounded by archives long thought lost, memory cords, ancestral records, tactical protocols, forgotten treaties. He had passed the inheritance lock. The chamber was not just symbolic, it was command. Later, Salira helped him back to the main hall, one arm under his good shoulder. You did it, she said. Jason managed a pained smile. I think I'm done being tested for a while. You're not. This just means you can finally start. The house reacted in kind. Drones reoriented, shields calibrated, communications aligned to the other houses. Messages came in almost immediately, some congratulatory, some cautious, a few quietly threatening. Jason read them all. One from House Corval simply read, Now we know you're real. But he didn't respond. He was busy. The estate's AI had presented him with an option: to restore the planetary link, the web of 12 banners across Virulon. He had the authority now. The question was whether he wanted to use it. Solera stood beside him in the control tower, arms folded. If you activate the others, this planet changes. I know, Jason said. But it's not about war. Not anymore. Then what? He looked at the horizon, towers rising in the distance, old as the stars. It's about remembering, he said. What we used to be. What we could be again. The AI asked for confirmation. Jason pressed his palm to the interface. Reactivate the network, all 12. The signal pulsed outward. Across the planet, forgotten keeps lit up, banners reawakened, and ancient houses stirred from centuries of quiet. The House de Kyleth had returned, and it carried the voice of a human.